Hello and welcome everyone to another set in the Blue Carbon Cup. Last Friday, FreakinAndy and MrOsoVC8 met in a best of 5 for the round of 8 in this Blue Carbon Cup. On the screen I'm showing their spirit animals. FreakinAndy has the green sea turtle and MrOsoVC8 has the mangrove crab. The green sea turtle is an endangered species. It lives in tropical and subtropical seas. Adults feed mostly on seagrasses. They migrate long distances between feeding grounds and hatching beaches. They can live up to 90 human years. They are only hunted by humans and large sharks. They often die in fishing nets. Nesting beaches are destroyed. Whereas the mangrove crab we've seen before, it is terrestrial. It lives on coasts from East Africa to North Australia, primarily in mangrove forests. They are nocturnal, hiding in burrows during the day. They feed on vegetation and debris, especially leaves of the white mangrove. They modify particle size, nutrient availability, particle distribution, redox reactions, organic matter. So apparently they have some important role in rearranging the chemistry of the soil. They rely heavily on coastal depth and surface temperatures, and they are threatened by coastal development. Let's take a look at these players. FreakinAndy is a pro player. He is number 20 overall in the ranked ladder, so pretty tough opponent. And MrOso, we've seen before, he is about number 152 on the ranked ladder. Around 2.2k, whereas FreakinAndy is 2.6-ish k, it looks like. So MrOso is in for a tough challenge. Can MrOso rise to the challenge and defeat FreakinAndy? I guess we'll find out. The first game is on Typhoon. Let's see if we can turn up the volume here. All right. So in the orange, we have FreakinAndy playing as the Lithuanians at around 7 o'clock. And at midnight, we have MrOsoVC8, or noon, however you want to look at it. He is playing as the Gray Malians. So let's talk about Lithuanians versus Malians on this map. What do we think about this Civ combination? I can see why MrOso, I'm going to start out by saying I can see why MrOso would pick the Malians on a map like this. This map, basically all of the neutral gold is right in the middle here. This is, I mean, there is a little bit of player assigned gold on these town centers, but otherwise on the outside, there isn't any gold out here. There's some stone, and there are some depleted mangrove forests, but essentially all of the neutral gold on the map is in the middle. MrOso going to build a lumber camp here. Oh, they're having a scout fight already. You guys, I'm not ready for this. I'm just talking about philosophy. What is this map good for? But I was going to say that, oh, we got a lame here. MrOso has walked across the map and taken one of FreakinAndy's boars. He's got one under his town center, and he's got another one back here. So now FreakinAndy is going to have to take this boar here if he wants to be even. Now MrOso is satisfied with his spoils. He's going to push deer with his scout. But I was going to say that, yep, and here it comes from FreakinAndy. Does FreakinAndy actually know where that boar is? He does, actually. He knows it's here. I'm not really sure why this lady is walking this way, though. It might be like an auto-pathing thing. Oh, yeah, she's having a hard time. Just going all the way around over here. I bet he's hoping that MrOso hasn't taken his other boar and that his other boar is over here. And maybe the plan is to snag that boar. But this lady isn't going to get anything. She's not going to find anything. And MrOso is presumably going to build this house and then take the boar. I don't believe that MrOso saw this villager. I guess we'll find out. Yeah, FreakinAndy looking for it. I mean, he knows it's here. It's a boar here. Oh no, the villager's going to build the dock. This could be his chance. This could be his chance. Okay. Go ahead and take the boar. Take the boar. We want to see a competitive game here. We don't want to see poor freaking Andy. I mean, he does have a huge elo advantage, so we shouldn't be rooting for him in this case too much. Oh, he's not going to take it. He's just going to lame it. Okay, I guess that's safer. So what he could do is he could kill the boar, and then he could wall it in. Mr. Oso is busy trying to get his dock up. He doesn't want to fall behind in terms of fish. But I was going to say that I think that Mr. Oso is planning some kind of man-at-arms towers. Malian man-at-arms plus towers can be very effective, in my opinion, because the Malian man-at-arms have extra pierce armor. So Mr. Oso trying to de-aggro that boar, and I guess failing. Now, if FreakinAndy is smart, he will wall this boar in so that Mr. Oso cannot really get to it very effectively. No, 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 no. Build the house here. Build the house here. Wall in that boar. Otherwise, he can just go and just take the boar. What do I know? I'm just a 1300 pleb. So, anyway, and Man-at-Arms Towers is a really good strategy on this map because all the gold is, like, right here. There's a little bit of gold here, but most of the gold is in the middle. This is a very snowbally map. It's a very fast map. Yes, this is what you need to do. Except you needed to do this sooner. Oh, now she's going to take some of the boar meat. I'm surprised that he's hanging around here. I would be like trying to get out of here as soon as possible. I feel like Mr. Oso would come up here and batter this villager down with his own villagers, try to trap her, or at the very least try to take this meat before it all rots away. But what do I know? Mr. Oso is already on his way up to the feudal age. So is FreakinAndy somehow. Don't ask me how. So he has plenty of turkeys. He's going to go and build a second lumber camp here, shanking Mr. Oso's scout a little bit. And it's going to be a brawl for the mill. Yeah, see, FreakinAndy loitering in this section now is getting chased off. There is a scout here. How much health does this scout have? It doesn't have a ton of health, but as soon as FreakinAndy gets feudal age, he could potentially help this villager out. He's just trying to run away. Yeah, and now she's probably gonna... Whoa! Oh, that was close. He almost had her. She almost walled him in. But this is a dead villager right here. There wasn't really any reason for that. Just wall in the boar quickly, don't take the resources, and try to get back to home. Now this villager's going to be lost. Oh, wait, what? He's building a dock over here. So if you're Mr. Oso, you have to charge that. You can't let that go up. And I think he indeed did right-click that. Yeah, this is a waste of wood, too. What is FreakinAndy doing? There's no way he could have expected this dock to go up. Or at the very least, he should have walled that in. Wait, what? He's just very confident in his quick walls. Wow, the dock goes up. I can't believe it. Mr. Oso should have sent like 2 villagers to deal with this. Now this lady is trapped here. She's probably going to die to a fire ship or something. That's crazy. What's this guy doing here? I guess he's trying to build that palisade wall and not succeeding. Alright, meanwhile, we have a very predictable tower rush here. Mr. Oso has built a tower here. FreakinAndy has built a tower here. And Mr. Oso has had to abandon his wood line. Mr. Oso is repairing his tower. And apparently he has charged FreakinAndy's lumber camp with some other villagers. A lot going on here. I can't even tell whose town this is, honestly. I think this is a gray blacksmith. No. Yeah, this is a gray blacksmith coming up. It's got the Malian architecture. He needs to repair this tower, and he needs to somehow fight these villagers, but they're walled in. So it would really help Mr. Oso is if he actually charged the base of this tower and walled out FreakinAndy from, like, rushing to defend it. And yeah, that's going to be the play here. Is he going to be able to wall in time? The only mistake was not making this out of stone. I think he made some stuff out of stone already. No, the villagers charged through. They always do this. Now he has to run. That was very unfortunate. He needed the stone gate, and he needed to maybe not finish it. Or he needed 2 houses. But there was a tight, quick wall anyway. But it all just coming down to micro here. This isn't really Alright, we got fireship battles too. These players are lightning fast. I can't even keep up with casting it. I'm not even playing it, and I can't keep up with everything. But this is what it means to be a good player at Age of Empires. It means being able to click fast and keep track of lots of stuff. Wouldn't it be nice if the better strategy prevailed here? But instead, this is just a hugely chaotic map. This is the kind of map you pick when you know that you're faster than your opponent. And you can just do more stuff than him. Alright, I think Mr. Oso... Oh, he's outnumbered here for fire ships. He's repairing his fire galley. He's got another one over here. It looks like his fishing economy is not safe. Are the players trading with each other? It looks like FreakinAndy is indeed trading with Mr. Oso. This dock has been a royal pain. Is Mr. Oso going to win this naval engagement? It looks like he will eventually clean this up. These villagers are destroying a palisade wall for some reason. I'm not really sure. It could have something to do with the desire to build a mill here to take this fish. No? No? Alright, well, I guess we'll find out. Where's he going? Is he looking for stone? Let's check Mr. Oso's point of view to see if he knows about any stone in this direction, and that's why he's headed that way. Nope. Although, to be fair, I don't think he knows about any stone anywhere else either. What is this? There's a villager. Mr. Oso has a random villager over here. Alright. So, he may not know about stone, but he might be looking for stone. No, he's not. He's going to fish. Okay. FreakinAndy building a market. I'm going to need that building in order to click up to the next stage. Mr. Oso is nowhere near. He has 555 on gold. FreakinAndy with the freaking Lithuanians. Mr. Oso is going to destroy this dock. And Mr. Oso doesn't really have... he's getting Town Watch, okay. He does not, he doesn't have the resources to click up. Nowhere near it. FreakinAndy won the tower battle over here. You know, really, if you're Mr. Oso, maybe you try again, you know? Maybe you send, like, 2 villagers forward, try to weave your way in here, do the quick stone wall behind, and you just shank this tower away. So your opponent has to continuously repair it. FreakinAndy only has 70 stone, although Mr. Oso has 0, so I guess that doesn't really help him too much. But let me tell you what, this is not a Tech Chariot style map. This is too aggressive, I think. So surely that Mr. Oso is going to detect that FreakinAndy has taken his foot off the gas and know that FreakinAndy is up to something, in this case going to the Castle Age. FreakinAndy will be there in about 20 seconds, so Mr. Oso better make it count here, better try to do as much damage as possible. He's 8 villagers behind, but he does have twice the military for now. FreakinAndy with no repair villagers back here. Oh, demolition shot. And yeah, Mr. Oso calling the GG, seeing that FreakinAndy is in the next stage, and he has not even clicked up, nor does he have the resources. So the first game goes to FreakinAndy, and that means that the next map will be Mr. Oso's first home map. And for that one, we are going to go to, where is it? Oh, need this one. Yes, Moria. Moria is the other super aggressive map. This one has stone in the middle, and it has the ring of capturable Gaia towers on the outside. You can garrison in these towers. They're sea towers. You can garrison in them, but if your opponent gets near the base of these towers, then it will convert and eject your villagers. Okay, so Mr. Oso coming across the map right away. FreakinAndy is at 3 o'clock. He is playing as the Dravidians. And now it's Mr. Oso's turn to play as the Lithuanians. He is at approximately 10 o'clock. This map is also good for man-at-arms towers. We've seen that on this map too. The stone is forward, so if you've got forward villagers, you might as well come back here and take a little bit of stone. The wood lines are not that many. The map is small, it's compact. It's easy to do your thing in a confined space. Raiding is not as big of a deal, I think, on this map. Okay. MrOso getting his first boar. FreakinAndy has already taken one of his boars. His other boar is over here. So I bet he's keeping an eye on MrOso. Are the players trading with each other? Yes, they are. This junk has 97 gold on it. The junk collects 4 times as much gold as a traditional trade cog. MrOso has built his lumber camp over here. I think this is pretty much the best location available. If MrOso is resourceful, at least the slightest bit resourceful, maybe he could find it within himself to wall this off and wall this off here, and maybe even wall to the town center of sorts, just so that his woodline cannot be towered. I think he otherwise has a decent map, although his gold mines, which contain 1,600 gold apiece, are close to the water. But he has 2 more potentially right here that he could take. So it might turn into more water aggression. FreakinAndy getting loom, but he's going to make some more villagers. Now FreakinAndy has built his... Oh! MrOso trying to take this boar from FreakinAndy. But I think he's going to run out of scout health. The boar is de-aggroed and MrOso has to withdraw. Well, it was a valiant attempt. He almost lamed FreakinAndy again. MrOso doing pretty well with the town center idle time, though. They both have similar amounts, maybe just a couple seconds. FreakinAndy trying to interfere with this boar, but is not going to succeed. Did he save that villager? It looks like he did save this 1 HP villager. Congratulations, MrOso. And that's important. Villagers are everything at this level. So MrOso does not have loom yet. FreakinAndy does. Okay. So MrOso, 25 pop. He's getting loom now. Does he have the feudal HQ'd after that? No, he does not. So both players are just investing lots into fishing. Interestingly enough, though, MrOso is taking these shorefish, which I'm not really sure about. The one thing I know is that he has not transported over here. He's just taking them with his fishing ships. I guess FreakinAndy is sort of trying to prioritize the deep fish. It's sort of a trade-off, right? Because the fishing ships collect slower from shallow fish or shore fish, but they don't have as far to travel. So it's a matter of comparing the time saved from collecting from deep fish to the additional travel time to see if it's worth it. FreakinAndy is going to head up to the feudal age first. He's building a forward barracks. This is an aggressive barracks. FreakinAndy in general has built his lumber camp kind of forward like he owns the map. Whereas MrOso built his lumber camp off to the side and has tried to build like some walls around it to sort of wall it in with small walls. FreakinAndy not worried. He's got a forward lumber camp. He's got a forward barracks. I think Dravidians get something to do with man-at-arms. I don't really know. I don't know. I've never followed any of the new Indian civs. Something about free man-at-arms, maybe? Or like extra resources. You guys will have to let me know if you're here. So FreakinAndy taking some stone, and then he's going to build... Tell me he's going to build a mining camp. There we go. This is a good mining camp. It's in range of several stone mines here. He's also partially built a house. He is housed. He's going to need that house. And he's going to need to finish it so that he doesn't have to wait for the next militia. So is this going to be man-at-arms, though? Let's check. I think it's just going to be like a 2 militia drush sort of thing. But he has... No, this is not a drush fast castle. He's sending villagers forward to tower this. If only Mr. Oso had walled this in. Now he's going to have a tower right over his wood line. You know, Mr. Oso should see it and react. Yeah, he's going to build a defensive tower of his own. And so FreakinAndy's going to build it here instead, which is annoying. And Mr. Oso is going to come and batter it down. He's going to use the cover fire of this tower. What's he doing? Oh, he's trying to wall the villagers in. Smart. Now, unfortunately for him, there's a gap here. He's sending more villagers. Dadgum. Oh, yikes. He has to delete that. Oh, this is so annoying. Yeah, should have just walled here and here. So Mr. Oso's attempt to wall those villagers in has failed. The tower is up. It has not killed anything. Well, it looks like it's killed 2 things, or that Mr. Oso has lost 2 things. And another tower coming up here to defend the holdings on the stone. Here comes a man-at-arms. So it is going to be man-at-arms. 2 man-at-arms. I guess so. We didn't see FreakinAndy on gold, so I wonder if the Dravidian bonus has something to do. Hey, welcome, DK. I wonder if the Dravidian bonus has something to do with gold and man-at-arms. So Mr. Oso is going to try to build a new lumber camping opportunity over here. But FreakinAndy, since he controls the freaking stone in the middle, there's nothing stopping him from just doing this again and building another tower over here. There's not much recourse, I should say, for Mr. Oso. He's going to build another tower with what little stone he has left. And I guess he's going to take a few berries. He doesn't even have the wood to build another palisade back here. And yeah, it's GG. The man-at-arms get in. Mr. Oso needed to prepare for the idea of being man-at-arms tower rushed. He needed to see that one coming, and he needed to take better precautions to prevent this from being towered. I really think that he had the time to palisade wall this, and this over here. And it looks like there was a transport ship. It looks like there were some shenaniganeries and some plans. This FreakinAndy apparently was moving all around the map, collecting sea towers and shooting Mr. Oso's fishing ships, which did not help his cause. But FreakinAndy with a pretty dominant performance so far. So with that, we'll move on to the next game. The next game is Lagoon. Looks like we got Vikings versus Italians on Lagoon. I don't know why you wouldn't tower rush. It's a good point. Tower rushes work really well in confined spaces where it's easy to deny a large fraction of resources. They work poorly in large open maps. Alright, so at 6 o'clock, or rather 7 o'clock, we have FreakinAndy playing as the freaking Orange Italians. And we have Mr. Oso playing as the Gray Vikings at 1 o'clock. This is Mr. Oso's second home map. It's the last one. If FreakinAndy wins this, then he will proceed to the next round relatively straightforwardly, or relatively, I mean he would have 3-0'd Mr. Oso, and he's a pretty tough opponent. Okay, so Mr. Oso knows about these crocodiles, and he knows that they are the boars in this case. You can see the crocodile has 340 food on him. He is chasing the villager. So what civilization do I favor? Well, I've seen some pretty powerful plays from the Vikings on this map. Vikings are a solid civilization. I don't think they're a better civilization than Italians long term. Italians have way better monk options, and I think that this map lends itself to Pike Monk Siege or Genoese Monk Siege pretty well. You know, you stonewall off this, and then you have a crawl around the other side. But it may not come to that. You know, Mr. Oso may just get such a huge army of longboats built up that it won't matter. It seems that the meta for this map is to maybe squabble a little bit over the fish in the center, but the players actually prefer to devote their military resources to actually docking the inside of this lagoon instead of the ocean down here. So they'll actually dock on the inside, and then they'll send ships around to go and find your opponent's wood collection and stone collection and gold collection and pressure that instead of just destroying fishing ships. But that's just the meta that we've seen so far. I think this is probably the best of my favorite of the maps that we've seen so far today, just because this map is not as snowbally. Oh boy, what's going on? It's just a board notification. So Mr. Oso is coming here to build a house, and then presumably Mr. Oso will build a dock once he has the resources. The Italians are getting their dock up first. Italians have cheaper advancement to the next stage too. So maybe FreakinAndy will get up to the feudal age very quickly and then have a couple of fire galleys to burn things. FreakinAndy pulling his geese back to a more sheltered location. Let's see where his lumber camp is. I guess that makes sense. It's a good lumber camp. We've seen players like stonewall across this mangrove shallow terrain and then just leave like the beach completely open or leave this rock completely open because they don't care about land units getting in. They're afraid of ships getting in. So we have fishing ships being made here and here. So FreakinAndy with a 1 fishing ship lead so far. Mr. Oso peacefully pushing a deer in. They do. Yeah, and we've seen other games on this map where Vikings have dominated. I believe actually that Mr. Oso has dominated as Vikings on this map before, if memory serves me correctly. Mr. Oso has actually played as Vikings on this map against Ro8, who was also the Italians. So Mr. Oso is in his comfort zone, and he definitely has a plan for this map. He's done this before. The difference is that this time, Mr. Oso remembers that his boar are actually crocodiles. Let's see if FreakinAndy knows. FreakinAndy appears to have taken his boars as well. He knows that Mr. Oso loves to lame, so he probably got his boars first. But the boars are not here, and Mr. Oso did not lame them, so the assumption is that FreakinAndy was able to collect the boars. FreakinAndy up to the feudal age. He is advancing. He has 4 fishing ships, and Mr. Oso has 4 fishing ships as well, also going up to the feudal age. And it's sort of funny that Vikings do so well on this map, considering that Vikings are not really all about tropical mangrove shallows. That's not really Vikings' style. They are more northern waters type warriors, but still badass. So let's see. Mr. Oso presumably has loom. Yeah. I mean, FreakinAndy could have been annoying over here, but decided not to pick a fight. Even though he's going to be up to the feudal age in just a few seconds here. Could be an opportunity to snipe a villager, but he doesn't know where Mr. Oso's scout is, and he doesn't know how far behind to the feudal age Mr. Oso is. Or whether or not Mr. Oso will be up before him. So Mr. Oso building another dock. FreakinAndy has built a second dock as well, so these players are going to contest the water in the middle. It makes sense. There's a lot of fish here. There's a lot of food to be had. But we've seen that players don't really contest it too much. Sometimes in a stalemate, or sometimes if you've killed everything your opponent has here, then players will build docks on the outside. Sometimes they'll do it as a surprise attack too. Double bed axe coming in for the Vikings. Remember though, that the Viking eco is very strong. Vikings get wheelbarrow for free as soon as they hit feudal age. So right off the bat, Mr. Oso's villagers walk just a little bit faster, and that will make his lumberjacks just a little bit more efficient. Berserkers in Civ 6 are terrifying. They're pretty terrifying in Age of Empires as well. You need a lot of ranged units to stop them, or like specialty units like Teutonic Knights or Cataphracts. Oh no, Mr. Oso, not like this. Okay, here he goes. He has found that FreakinAndy has 2 galleys. Mr. Oso starting to mass his own galleys. They're both going to go galleys. Mr. Oso builds another dock. FreakinAndy has not made that kind of freaking commitment yet. Still got galleys in production. Mr. Oso is going to repair his galley. And they're going to micro galleys again. Mr. Oso, we've seen, loves his galley micro. We have seen that many times. Can he out micro FreakinAndy though with the galleys? He needs to get this low health galley back and fix it. But right now they're just dancing around, trying to keep their... Mr. Oso is on the defensive. He's trying to keep his fish alive. Nope, that galley did go down. The good news for Mr. Oso is that he has 3 docks working. And that is in keeping with FreakinAndy's dock count as well. Their galleys are, it looks like 4 to 4. Mr. Oso happens to have 4 in the right spot, though. Now he has to withdraw because he's out. Well, he's not outnumbered, but some of his galleys are weak, so he might withdraw to repair a few of them. I mean, he should have an advantage considering that he is further back. You know, he's closer to his docks. Now FreakinAndy is going to withdraw because even though there are some weak galleys here to finish off, his opponent has twice the firepower. Does anybody have fletching yet? Yeah, I think they both have fletching. Yep. They both have fletching. So FreakinAndy with some pretty modest walls here. The walls do not include his gold, though. So he's going to quick wall this, which is smart. And he's going to build a dock on the outside now to see if he can pressure his opponent. I think FreakinAndy is losing faith in the middle. He knows he's going to lose the middle. He's just kind of fighting and holding on as long as possible. What's Mr. Oso doing? Mr. Oso has made no walls whatsoever. He is not worried about his opponent, and he also has not docked the outside portion of the ring yet. Although I don't see... Okay, here they are. Those are Mr. Oso's fishing ships. If he's not careful, FreakinAndy will come in and snipe those fishing ships for free. Mr. Oso getting a good surround, if you will, on these galleys. He's going to finish them off. So now Mr. Oso, that he's finished off the galleys, he's going to head over and he's going to perform some aggressive... I don't really understand this horse collar. I mean, if you're Mr. Oso, you have to know that, like, you're winning water. I don't understand it. Just take the water, man. Just go fish traps at this point. But I guess it's a cheap enough and simple enough technology to get. So Mr. Oso has destroyed FreakinAndy's navy in the deep water, in the pond in the middle. And so he's got to be feeling pretty good about that. Just chasing down this last fishing ship. He'll get it. Then he can go back to these docks. There are fire ships from FreakinAndy rolling out across the map, though, and these could be tough to deal with. FreakinAndy building a forward dock here. So it is his determination that I'm going to go after this guy. FreakinAndy is going to be up to the castle age pretty soon. He got the fish that he needed, and he's not concerned about fighting over this anymore. He wants to get to the castle age, upgrade these to fire ships, and the villagers are going to have one heck of a time fighting back. Neither player has any land units. Luckily for Mr. Oso, he is not far behind FreakinAndy. He's about a minute behind him to the castle age. So, does Mr. Oso know anything about this attack? I should say. No, he has not scouted anything. The first that he sees of it is he sees maybe a little glimpse of orange, and here comes his fire ship. So at this point, he will know that his opponent is in the middle, and he can't currently take golds. The good news for Mr. Oso is that FreakinAndy very smartly getting war galleys from this dock because he wants to use his production capacity in the other docks. Is this a monastery? Interesting choice, a monastery and a siege workshop. Alright, so we're going to do a classic monk siege push here from FreakinAndy with maybe some fire ship support. Mr. Oso coming out here to this gold and has built some docks back here to make some ships to defend himself over here. Okay, he gets Castle Age. He's going to have to get the War Galley tech. I would get it from a dock that is in the center, and that is indeed what he does. But now he's got fire ships rampaging around this side of his economy. This has kind of been walled off to the town center. There's a fire ship here as well. I think that this is solid. I don't think he can sail across this. Maybe he can, and I just need to pay closer attention. Oh, yep, okay. He can sail across that. So he should build a wall here to prevent an attack from that angle. Fire ships are trying to get in. This berry picker's like, excuse me, sir, I need to get over here and pick these berries. Ah, nope, it's getting burned. Needs to pull him back into the center. Okay, and there are a lot of war galleys now. Mr. Oso seems to be holding on. There are a lot of fire ships in his base. There's apparently a mangonel as well. It's like that mangonel may have gotten some villagers flattened over here. Oh. Okay, we just had a little freeze there. It scared me for a second. Mr. Oso here fighting these fire ships, which seem to only have an interest in burning villagers. But now they're forced to withdraw. I think these players should like just stonewall to the edge of the map. But players don't like to spend their stone, unfortunately. So what's FreakinAndy's plan? He's going heavily on stone. Maybe he wants to build a castle and make genbos. You know, I'm not sure if genbos get any bonus damage versus ships. I know that pikemen do. Do genbos? Genbos are kind of a replacement for pikemen. So I love how FreakinAndy's just like sailing underneath Mr. Oso's town center like he doesn't care. Got a monk here. Are the monks for converting war galleys? It looks like he actually has converted a war galley here. So Mr. Oso's war galleys have bodkin, though. Mangonel firing. Mr. Oso is heavily on stone as well. I think Mr. Oso, he's going to get careening, but I think he wants a castle, too. He's got big military in the middle, but remember, he can't really use this military. So if I were him, I would actually be adding fishing ships in the middle and taking some more of this fish. FreakinAndy continuing to pressure his town center. I never really thought that mangonels were terribly effective against war galleys. I mean, I could be wrong. It just seems like this is not really the right unit to make against a mass of war galleys. But what do I know? What do I know? Ballistics would be really helpful, but neither player can afford it. Especially not Mr. Oso. He's too busy pumping out war galleys. Okay, he has actually cleaned up FreakinAndy's attack, and I think FreakinAndy is done over here. He's got one more monk that's being made, and maybe he was going to create a couple more ships just to slow this down. He's like, all right, I might as well use this monk. It looks like he also picked up a relic over here, but if you're FreakinAndy and like this happens to you, you maybe trickle out a few more ships, and you come over here and you plop down some massive stone walls. Because if there's one thing that stone walls are good for, it is keeping you in the game. That's basically what stone does. Stone is the anti-snowball resource. I mean, you could make the argument that a castle drop or a tower rush could snowball, but the thing is that if your opponent is paying attention, you can't really get away with a castle drop. And with regards to a tower rush, like a tower rush is a huge investment. it's easier to make your own defensive towers. Mr. Oso coming out across the map. He has the stone for a castle drop, and oh, looks like a pretty aggressive castle right here. Oh wait, no, that's FreakinAndy's castle. All right, never mind. This is a great castle. It defends most of his woodline. It defends this gold. It defends this woodline entirely, and it defends a portion of this woodline as well. So Mr. Oso coming in, building a tower to see an outpost to see what FreakinAndy is up to, and Mr. Oso is going to pull back to his ships, and use his ships to defend his construction villagers, and this castle is going to go up, and then it'll be a race to the Imperial Age, but FreakinAndy's Imperial Age is slightly cheaper than Mr. Oso's because FreakinAndy is freaking Italians. And Italians have cheaper Imperial Age too, like their Byzantine cousins. Their Imperial Age isn't quite as cheap. Oh, Mr. Oso is going to build a second castle here, as though one was not enough. And I really think he should have spent the resources to get up to the next stage. I don't know that this castle is justified. But, you know, what do I know? We have another fight over here. It looks like FreakinAndy, because Mr. Oso's attention is so consumed over here, it's like FreakinAndy is able to continue to do things over here. Although Mr. Oso is slowly going to push through. He's going to destroy both docks. Just because he doesn't want to think about ships raiding his base anymore, he wants the fight to be over here. Pressuring FreakinAndy. He's going to take FreakinAndy's stone, too, to add insult to injury. So now the question is FreakinAndy is going to try to buy some food, I think. Selling wood, buying food, and he wants to click up, and he wants to make trebuchets to remove these castles. Oh, yes, petards! So we're seeing Mr. Oso make petards. I think that's fantastic. He's making petards from both castles, maybe? No, just the one. But what would be absolutely amazing would be if Mr. Oso made 20 petards between these two castles and just charged in and petarded down this castle just as FreakinAndy was getting Imperial Age. I would lose it if that happened. Because I love petards. Don't tell the other one I said this, but I actually do love petards. Because they're unpredictable. That's the great thing about petards, is they're a great way to get a surprise going. They break up the stale meta of the game. And that's desperately needed, in my opinion. It's very, very hard to break the meta on this game. Got another castle here on FreakinAndy's wood. Oh, we have berserkers now. So DK is going to get his wish to see some berserkers pressuring this blacksmith. FreakinAndy is on his way up to the Imperial Age. Can Mr. Oso stop him, though? If FreakinAndy gets Imperial Age and then he, stonewalls in trebuchets, all three of these castles could go down. And FreakinAndy could still win. So, Mr. Oso definitely needs to not dawdle. He needs to... And he really needs to pay attention to what his opponent is going to do. Really needs to anticipate his opponent's next move, I should say. Like chess. Mr. Oso kind of failed to anticipate the damaging effect of a tower rush, or the damage that a tower rush could do in the previous game, and it cost him that game. And don't make the same mistake here. Assume that your opponent's play is to go to the Imperial Age because it's basically all he can do, and then prepare something to counter that, to take countermeasures. So sure enough, freaking Chris is already on a trebuchet. He gets to the Imperial Age. He's going to make a trebuchet. It looks like he's got a couple of Genoese crossbowmen somewhere, and he wants to wall this. He wants to wall these ships out. So naturally, the ships are going to try to go around because FreakinAndy is anticipating his opponent's move, and he built walls here. Mr. Oso is going to chisel down this house. Trebuchet is out and unpacking. If you're FreakinAndy and you're expecting these ships to get in here, what you need is the range upgrades on your castle to make sure that it deals extra damage to ships. He's going to try to build a dock up here to make fires to slow these galleys down, but you don't want these galleys diving your trebuchet. Mr. Oso saving up and then finally clicking up to the Imperial Age. He is preparing rams. Let's go. Knowing his opponent does not have much in the way of melee units. So what's he doing though? Is he waiting for Imperial Age to upgrade these? Or is he just going to go in now? He's going to go in now. It's logical. The castle can range the base of this castle. So if his opponent tries to batter these rams down with villagers, he can shoot the villagers. Unfortunately, though, since he was not repairing his castle, he's lost that advantage and that ability. So I think Mr. Oso is actually going to lose these castles. He didn't really do what he needed to do to prevent FreakinAndy from massing trebuchets like this. Mr. Oso is not repairing these castles either. He's going to go into docks, and the play is probably going to be longboats. He's got a random fire ship in his base. That's annoying. It's a fast fire ship, too. Fast fire ships are pretty powerful. He has the stone to build another castle. I think he's just saving it in case he needs to slow down his opponent again. And, yep, here are the long ships. More raiding vessels. Fast fire ships. But longboats are pretty OP on this map. Longboats can reach, but he's choosing not to engage here. Oh, he'd rather engage the fires. Now, here's the thing about longboats. They fire multiple arrows, and because they fire multiple arrows, they are very good against targets with high pierce armor. Because if the target has high pierce armor and each arrow does only 1 damage per hit, then if you have 8 arrows, you're doing 8 times the normal amount of damage. So Mr. Oso does have twice the economy of FreakinAndy, nearly. He's going monk defense. That's interesting on these fire ships. And he does technically have the military advantage. So even though he's lost all 3 of his forward castles, he is still building an army of these longboats. He's getting chemistry that will really help his longboats. You always have to micro the longboats against targets like these. And he's getting ballistics, which will help the longboat accuracy. These Genoese crossbowmen, one of them gets clobbered by arrows. They both go down now. Fire ships are in on Mr. Oso's wood line. These are not elite longboats, to my knowledge, because he does not have... Actually, I think the upgrade is at the dock. Mr. Oso building more docks over here. FreakinAndy wants this gold, so he's building a town center here. He's got more longboats. But it's so chaotic. Come on, man. Just stonewall this off. Save yourself some time. You know? Save yourself some time and some heartache. What is FreakinAndy doing? He's got the stone. He's going to drop a castle. There it is. So Mr. Oso could definitely see that. Yeah, Mr. Oso can see that. Whether or not he does is not known to me. I think he is too busy microing somewhere else. FreakinAndy trying to catch up here in population. Yeah, he's too busy microing this to notice this castle go up. So this castle's going to go up. I bet it's going to kill like 10 villagers. Before Mr. Oso sees it. Now, where else can Mr. Oso take gold? Well, he still has this gold here. He did send some long ships to clean that up. He also has the elite upgrade now. So he has to come here and build his own castle. And then he'll make trebuchets to try to return FreakinAndy is putting in quite the performance here. Okay, we have cannon galleons and we have longboats starting to pile up. So hard to deal with mass longboats. There's not really much that can actually. Yeah, I think that this is over. We got 5 military against 46. FreakinAndy's still trying, though. We got, okay, we actually have cannon galleons here. FreakinAndy repairing the castle, making a trebuchet. But it's just too much. I think it's just too many longboats are out at this point. And they're just killing everything. Oh, heavy demo, though. Very effective against longboats because they group up rather effectively. Now FreakinAndy repairing his town center. I'm not really sure why Mr. Oso is targeting this town center instead of this castle. It seems like this castle would be kind of the logical target. But what do I know? And Mr. Oso working on this castle here. Where is his massive army of longboats? Okay, they're headed up this way. And FreakinAndy just finally calling the GG. Mr. Oso wins the third game with his Viking strategy. His villagers are getting mowed down. FreakinAndy seeing the writing on the wall. So I'm pleased that we get at least a game 4. Let's go check it out, guys. Water Nomad. All right, see you later, DK. Hopefully we'll be doing some more games soon. All right, so Water Nomad is a very, very somewhat unserious map in my opinion. It's basically Nomad. It was originally developed when the Rise of the Rajas expansion came out a long time ago. The thing that makes this map ridiculous is that ships can literally go anywhere, and there's all kinds of places to build docks, sort of all sorts of beach terrain and such. So ships can get anywhere. They can kill anything. So this map is all about ships, and anybody that tells you otherwise either has no idea what they're talking about or is playing a practical joke on you. Ships are very powerful. They're just so cost effective. Mr. Oso playing it safe, and he's building up in this corner. He is the Gray Persians. And now FreakinAndy is going to give Mr. Oso a taste of his own medicine. FreakinAndy playing as the Orange Vikings. So you start with a few fishing ships. These players are going to look for each other. Actually, this junk, FreakinAndy has already found Mr. Oso, and he's already bringing in gold. That's funny. Poor Mr. Oso. He had barely built this dock, and FreakinAndy's like, oh, you're in business. I'm going to come trade with you now. This junk is looking for FreakinAndy's dock, but I don't think he's found it yet. Let's see. Yeah, Mr. Oso has not yet found FreakinAndy's dock. So FreakinAndy going to get a gold benefit. There, he gets 82 gold, just like that. It's pretty insane. I don't know, what do you guys think? You guys think the junks are OP? Let me know. Mr. Oso corralling his water buffaloes. Has he found these water buffaloes yet? Or are these Gaia water buffaloes? No, he found them. He just hasn't corralled them yet. He also found these ones too. He's got a huge, massive water buffalo. Are we going to see any demolition ships blow up in the woodlines, killing 10 lumberjacks at once? We all want to see it, even though we know that it would be awful for the game. Let's see. So, somebody housed, I think, for a short time. Small amount of town center idle time. Freaking Andy with 5 seconds and Mr. Oso with 3. But in general, both of these players are still doing great. So Persians are a logical pick for this map. Their town centers and docks work at twice the rate. So it's very likely that Mr. Oso will be able to mass fire ships faster than Freaking Andy. Are we going to see another desperate attempt at going fire ships against longboats? That's my question. We certainly know that Freaking Andy is going to play on longboats. Longboats are just too good in this situation. But if you're Persians, you don't need as many docks. You don't need as many docks to put out the same number of fire ships. Persians could go galleys themselves, but it doesn't really make sense because Persians are missing Bracer. They don't get the final range or attack upgrade for ranged units, and that applies to galleys as well. Or in this case, they're Imperial Age galleons. So that hurts. It'll definitely hurt their prospects. So if I were Persians, I would be going fire ships in this situation. But what do I know? Maybe they're expecting that the game will be over long before the Imperial Age, before that becomes a question. So has Mr. Oso found Freaking Andy's dock yet? Oh shoot, that's Freaking Andy's point of view. I'm like, why? You can see everything Freaking Andy can see. All right, let's see here. Yes, he has found it. So he could trade as well. We have another dock coming up here. Freaking Andy is on his way to the Feudal Age. Mr. Oso is also on his way to the Feudal Age, about a minute behind. Mr. Oso building another dock. Neither of the players have built any walls, except maybe this wall over here from Mr. Oso. Try to wall in his stuff. And look at all these water buffaloes that he has here. It's 1,200 food right there. These water buffaloes and these water buffaloes. So that's 1,500 food, and then plus 300 more, 1,800. 2,100 food between all of these water buffaloes. So he doesn't need to build farms for a long time. And Freaking Andy has some water buffaloes too, but he doesn't have nearly as many. Alright, he's Feudal Age. Let's see what it is. It's probably galleys. Of course it's galleys, because Vikings don't get fire ships. Mr. Oso just kind of sweating and hoping that he can get to the Feudal Age and start getting his stuff out in time. The Persians will have, in my opinion, sort of an early advantage, although Viking economy is pretty powerful. Mr. Oso is trading. He's going to get 81 gold in. I'm going to drop off at the stock. Yep, there we go. So being Feudal Age, that means, oh, Mr. Oso, no. He's going galleys as well. Even if he made like one fire ship, the high pierce armor, you know, just to get in front and like soak up some arrows, it could help him win the galley war, but Mr. Oso just loves microing his galleys so much. The villagers are trying to wall this in. He's going to build another dock back here for his fishing ships to collect from. Has he gotten fletching yet? No, but Freaking Andy does have fletching. And this could be over pretty quick. He has to continuously produce galleys from all these docks if he's going to stand a chance. His wood situation is a little lacking, it looks like. Doesn't quite have the wood. He wants to. But he doesn't have, since he had to build another dock, he doesn't have a blacksmith. So therefore his galleys don't have fletching still, which is a huge disadvantage. Fletching is a big bonus in Feudal Age. Is this junk going to go down? Alright, yeah, Freaking Andy's sinking the junk finally. The junk takes up 0 population too. So yeah, he doesn't want to fight this. Does not have the upgrades, and he's outnumbered. I guess he'll kind of fight it if he has to. I'm surprised Freaking Andy backed away there. If I were him, I would have just come right in here. But maybe he wants to press his his options and see what else he can, what other damage he can do. As these lumberjacks have to withdraw. This villager is forced off of the gold. I tell you, there's just not enough stone anymore. There's not enough stone. Games are over so quick. Freaking Andy seems to be taking his time. He must not realize that his opponent doesn't have fletching yet. I bet that's it. Because I would totally be taking these fights. If I knew that I had fletching and my opponent didn't, and I had the same numbers as them, or maybe slightly more, I would definitely take the fights. Just fight it. This is a mistake for Mr. Oso to come out here like this. It's like asking freaking Andy to take a fight. Mr. Oso still has not built a blacksmith yet. He's been trying to get ahead in galley numbers. And basically, it's kind of a choice. He has to choose not to get some galleys for a little bit so that he can mass up the wood needed to make a blacksmith. Here goes this villager. Oh, she's going to build a house instead. Mr. Oso with 12 military, freaking Andy with 15. Okay, here is the blacksmith. He needs this badly. Here's the thing, though. Freaking Andy is getting close to having the resources to click up to the next stage. He's not there yet, but he's getting there. And it looks like this is kind of a deliberate plan. So Mr. Oso is going to wait until he can get fletching before he tries to engage anything. But, oh, what was that? I think that was a demolition ship. Didn't really get in, though. Freaking Andy with free reign over the fish back here. Mr. Oso's kind of tucked into a corner. Fletching is coming in, and then he's going to go try to fight something. Freaking Andy is on his way up to the castle age. I would actually just not fight this at all. I would just run away. Why would you? You're close to having the war galley upgrade. You have plenty of space. I mean, he's got one villager here and a few fishing ships. So what? Let Mr. Oso have it. Well, I mean, withdraw the ships and the villager, but let him have that space. You've got all this back here. He even built a tower on his gold. Wow. He even built a tower on his gold, you guys. Okay, they're still gonna fight. Freaking Andy is just confident in his galley micro that he doesn't even need to wait for the war galley upgrade. He's just gonna fight it. Mr. Oso is nowhere near castle age. I don't understand the galleys. Maybe somebody can point it out to me. Was the feeling that his opponent was just... Maybe he felt that his opponent was just so good at galley micro that the fire galleys would not get any damage in? Yeah, Mr. Oso sees the castle age and calls GG. Well played. Good luck next. So it was a fun set. Mr. Oso got to do his thing on Lagoon. Final game in the set goes to Freaking Andy, who wins 3-1. Freaking Andy will proceed to the round of 4 in the Blue Carbon Cup. So thank you everybody for tuning in. It's been a kind of a short set. They were quick games, but I look forward to seeing you in the next cast. So thanks everyone who tuned in, and we'll see you again soon.